All right, we're back with another Prize Picks video here. Early morning video for us, but I really want to take advantage of these lines before they start moving too much. We're talking MLB wildcard game twos. We got 4 games on the slate. Yeah, before we jump into it, go ahead and like this video, guys. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to be tackling all these different sports. MLB, I dropped CSGO videos, WNBA, NBA is right around the corner. Obviously, football. But yeah, we've been ripping videos out daily, so try to get to every sport as much as I can. But I greatly appreciate it. But let's jump into the board here. A lot of value on these plays. Let's jump right into Freddy Peralta for the Brewers. We're going to go to pitching outs. Let's go jump into why we're choosing that. Not Brewers, we're looking at Peralta. Pitching outs. As you can see right off the bat, his last 10, he's gone over this in 9 of 10. His last 20, he's gone over this in 19 of 20 games. And in 2023 as a whole, he's literally gone under it twice. And again, this time was probably him getting ready for the playoffs, which is what they did for a lot of these starting pitchers. Only played 3 innings. I'm sure maybe he got hit around a little bit, but still, 93%, 28 of 30 games this season. He's gone over this 13.5 line. I think on where we got it at 14.5. So just keep that in mind. But still, that would be over in all of these games anyway. Looks at 15 is his lowest that he's done a couple times. In terms of his matchup here, even the matchup's favorable. These guys don't hit him extremely well. We can go check out this as well. Looks like in 22 at bats, they're batting a 91 batting average. Again, not too many at bats against Peralta for the Diamondbacks. They are a good hitting team, except not against right-handed pitchers. The last 30 days, they've been ranked 29th for 2023. Good hitting team. They're about a middle-of-the-road team, batting 250 against right-handed pitching. But again, really been on a slow streak for them, batting 217 the past 30 days against righties. So all signs pointing to Peralta getting over this 14.5 line. I would not be surprised at all if it goes to 15, 15.5. Even if we saw 16, I wouldn't be surprised. But seeing as it's at 13.5 on outlier, I'd assume this line at least goes to 16. I'm at 15. But yeah, at 14.5, really liking that. That means he just has to get through the 5th inning. But yeah, really liking Peralta at that line. Next up, we're going to go to a hits allowed line for Braxton Garrett. We're going over his 4.5 hits allowed. Let's go jump into his page. Braxton for Miami. Hits allowed. So last 10, it's about a 50-50. I'm going to change this to over 4.5. Yeah, about a 50-50. When you extend this out to the last 20, he's done it in 11 of 20 games. Head-to-head, which is obviously huge. He's gone over this in both of the games they play the Phillies this year, giving up 6 hits in both of those in 5 innings pitched. And then in 2023, 16 of 30. So pretty good history in terms of going over this line, a little over 50%, which is obviously a good sign. Now let's look specifically for Braxton Garrett. This is where it gets huge. They're batting in 68 at-bats, so not a horrible sample size. In 68 at-bats, they're batting 353 against this guy. So they absolutely crush this guy. To put it more visually, you can see it here, a lot of green. So no one's gone up against him too many times, but still 7, 8, 9, 10 at-bats. That's a decent sample size. And again, he's pitched against these guys in 2 games, 10 innings, about 1.4 walks plus hits per inning, and just a whole lot of hits to be had against this dude. So while this isn't like a jumping off the board number at around 50% in terms of his history allowed, this Phillies team really smacks him around. So yeah, really liking this Braxton Garrett line. Again, this is the kicker for me, batting 353 and 68 at bats against this dude. So really liking the hits allowed for the Phillies over Braxton Garrett. And let's jump right into the next one. A lot of pitching lines I'm going to be going over, and I will give you 2, I think, hitting lines as well. So we're going over to hits allowed for Aaron Nola. So similar to Braxton Garrett, let's go check him out over here. Aaron Nola. They're batting 234 against him, this Marlins team. Let's go into his page real quick. Yes, hits allowed. So 7% of his last 10. Sorry, 70% of his last 10. He's gone over this line, and it just keeps going. 14 to 20, 70% as well. In terms of the head-to-head, He's given up 9 hits, 8 hits, 7 hits this year. So he's gone well over this line in all his matchups against the Marlins here. And then in 2023, as a whole, he's still gone over in 66% of the time, 66% of the games. In terms of the specific matchup, again, we just looked at it at ESPN. He goes, 234 batting average, so pretty solid batting average against him. To make it more visual, a lot of these guys in the green here, batting 500, 2 at-bats, obviously isn't the biggest sample size, but even Stoller and Birdie here at 308 and 13 at-bats. A couple home runs to be had, 7 actually, so really liking to see that, or 6. But yeah, I think Nola gets knocked around a little bit as well. And the good thing about these pitchers in the playoffs, they typically won't, they're not going to be hustling to take him off the mound unless he's getting hit around. So yeah, really liking this Nola line at 4.5. I got to add our last couple picks here. Nola, we're going hits allowed. We're going over. All right, let's jump right into the next one here. Another pitcher. We're going to Zack Gallen. This one's going to be heavily odds-based. So we're going to over 5.0 strikeouts. Let's go pull up his page. Zack Gallen, 4.5. So when we look at this, if you go over to FanDuel right now, this line's at 5.5. Yes, the money is a little bit on the under of 5.5. But if you look at Zack Gallen 5+ strikeouts, which is what it was on PrizePicks 5.0, it's minus 230 odds. Which is just extremely likely that he at least gets to that 5 strikeouts, at least based on what FanDuel is saying. If we go over and check him out, so obviously 6 of the last 10 and 60% of his games, he's gone over this 4.5 line. 70% of his last 20, he's gone over this. And in 2023 as a whole, he's gone over this in 74% of those games. So really liking that. On top of that, this Brewers team is about middle of the road in terms of K percentage at around 23%. In terms of his specific matchups, these guys don't hit him well, all too well. It is kind of middle of the road. Some of these guys like Yelich, 286 isn't the best in the world, but none of these guys are really slapping him around. And then in terms of K rate, looks like the top half of his alphabetical order list is green, but the bottom half, 50, 50, 25, 28, 50, 22. So I'm really liking that. On top of that, if we really look at this, it gives us the ESPN just gives you the averages right on the bottom in terms of the entire thing. Outlier kind of gives it more visual, but I don't like that it doesn't give you the totals there. But 70 at-bats, 20 Ks. I already did the math. I'm not super genius here, but that's a 28.5% K rate. So we'd only need to see about 19 batters or so to get to that 5.0 line, which I think is really doable. If you look at the head-to-head matchup as well, he's gone over this in one of the 2 games. Back in April, he really got this team 11 Ks and then 4 Ks here. But he went 7 innings in both of these games. So I really like that just because obviously, the more batters you face, the more opportunity you're going to have for strikeouts. So Gallen's history, the coupling that with the FanDuel odds of minus 230 of getting 5+, I'm really liking Zack Gallen there. So that's going to be 4 picks. Let's get to our first hitter here. We're going to go Trey Turner. Oops, Trey Turner. We're going to go over his fantasy score of 7.5. Immediately, I want to say before we even jump into his page or as I pull it up, Trey Turner has the capability of stealing bases. That's just so huge in terms of fantasy score because that's 5 fantasy points right there. So if he gets a single and steals second, he's already over at 8. So let's go to he doesn't have a fantasy score on Outlier. They never have fantasy score, but I kind of go off hits, runs, RBIs. You can look at this, 6% of his last 10, obviously he's done pretty well. Let's go the over there. But his matchup is the one I really like. Going up against Nola. Where is he at? I gotta find him. Or he's not going up against Nola. He's going up against Braxton Garrett. So this kind of goes hand in hand with our pick earlier in terms of what we do for Braxton Garrett. We went for hits allowed, I believe, right? Yeah, hits allowed 4.5, so this goes hand in hand with that play. We got Trey Turner here. He's batting 33% with 2 home runs off this guy, so he knows how to hit him. He knows how to hit him with power. Again, 6 at-bats and 2 home runs. That's pretty good odds for us. Obviously, if he was able to do that, he'd be well over that in one swing of the bat. But again, all he really needs is a single, stolen base, maybe a double and a single, get hit in with a run. There's a bunch of opportunities for fantasy points, and you love fantasy points when there's a lot of green in this lineup. So again, I think Braxton Garrett gets hit around. So I'm really liking Trey Turner's fantasy score here. And then last but not least, let's go look at the guy from last video, Nick Forte. And we're going under his total bases. So let's go check him out on Outlier. All right, that's stolen bases. Let's go check out his total bases. His line's at 0.5. It's a -130 to go over. That's very typical for any 0.5 line. I'm really liking the under here. If you look at the last 20 games, he's gone under this line in 16 of 20 games. Doesn't get on base very much. At least he doesn't get hits very often. And then the whole season, he's still over this at 55%. But again, last 20, he's really in a slump here, including this game where he got taken out. So that doesn't hurt us on the under. I think if he at least gets to 2 at-bats, which he did yesterday's game, and he gets subbed out like he did, that's good for us. So his batting average against righties is .165, so not a very good batting average. Aaron Nola pitches pretty much the same in terms of righties and his normal average. And then, like I said, he can get subbed out. He doesn't get hits very often in general, and he bats ninth. So not a whole lot of opportunity for him to get on base. So I'm liking Forte under. The only thing I would say about this play is I'd play it more as a flex play, just because we have Aaron Nola on hits allowed, so they kind of contradict each other. Oh, look, there goes Zack Gallen. 4.5 strikeouts. Beautiful. That's even better. So, yeah, we'll take that. 4.5 strikeouts for Gallen. We're still going over. So, really liking that. Let's go ahead and lock this in before anything else moves. Again, Forte kind of contradicts Nola here. I think he might only see, 2 or 3 plate appearances. But let's go ahead and lock this in terms of the video. You don't have to do all these plays. Obviously, mix and match them with your favorite plays. If you're just kind of trying to get maybe some recommendations for 1 or 2 plays that you like, pick your favorite 1 or 2, and go from there. But yeah, should be a lot of fun baseball. Good games yesterday. I expect the same thing today. Let's go ahead and lock this in. But yeah, that's going to do it. Again, subscribe, like, comment, really helps the channel. But yeah, thanks. Peace out.